Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at a situation that, well, it sounds great on paper, maybe like a dream job posting,
Yeah, I know the kind.
but it often turns into a real organizational headache. So imagine you're part of a top-notch Scrum team,
Okay.
and you get this task, build a major new feature.
Exciting, right?
And you get to use this cutting-edge, really shiny new software development kit, an SDK just put out by a brand new company.
Ooh, shiny and new. That always sounds fun. In
Exactly.
essence.
The energy is high, everyone's keen, but our sources are pretty clear on this.
Mhm.
This specific mix, a novice team using it, a critical feature, and totally unproven tech.
That's a recipe for volatility. Big time.
Precisely. So our mission today is to dig deeper than just saying it's risky. We need to really unpack the specific risks hiding in there.
Right. What kind of risks?
Yeah, and nail down who's actually responsible for flagging them. And maybe most importantly, figure out the right way to talk to leadership about it.
Uh-huh. The strategy.
The strategy, so your team looks like part of the solution, not, just another problem piling up.
That framing is crucial.
Because for you, listening, getting this right, it's the difference between just reporting issues and being seen as a genuinely strategic player, someone managing risk effectively. Okay, let's dive in.
And you use that word volatility, which is spot on. When you look at the sources on this scenario, the answer is a clear, resounding yes.
Loaded with risk.
Absolutely loaded. It's like a triple threat, really. You've got the immature tech, the company relying heavily on it, and usually a tight deadline thrown in.
Okay, so let's start with the what. What are these specific risks? Beyond just, oh, there might be bugs, what comes with using brand new tech from a totally new company?
Yeah, good question. The sources point to two major categories here that really mess with a Scrum team's ability to predict anything.
Okay, number one.
First, it's the technical debt you basically inherit on day one. New software, especially from a new vendor. Sure, it'll have bugs. That's almost a given.
Right, standard stuff.
But the deeper issue is the undiscovered stuff. Those weird edge cases nobody's hit yet. Documentation that's, well, maybe thin, maybe incomplete, sometimes just plain wrong. And then there are the crucial features that are just missing. Not on the roadmap, because the vendor didn't even realize they were essential until people like you actually try to build something real with it.
So it sounds like the team ends up spending, what, half their time building the actual feature and the other half just trying to figure out the tool they're supposed to be using, like reverse engineering it.
That's a perfect way to put it, exactly. And that flows right into the second big risk category, which honestly might be even sneakier.
Which is?
It's what we call the community support vacuum.
Okay.
When an SDK or a library is totally new, there's just no ecosystem around it yet. Think about it. Your developer hits some cryptic error message, maybe a simple config thing.
Yeah.
They can't just Google it or pop it into Stack Overflow and get an answer in, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That resource just isn't there.
Right. No forum posts, no blog tutorials, nothing.
Nothing.
And what's the actual cost of that vacuum? I mean, it sounds annoying, sure, but does it really hit the budget?
Oh, it's huge. It's an exponential cost driver.
Yeah.
Let's say you're a senior developer. You're billing them out at what? $100, $150 an hour.
Easily.
And they spend 3 days just trying to figure out one undocumented API call because the error message was totally unhelpful.
Wow.
That's not just a documentation issue anymore. That's like a $2,400 or more unplanned hit straight to your feature budget just for that one problem.
And the community normally provides that support for free.
Instantly.
Yeah.
For free, yeah. When you don't have it, you're burning your most expensive internal people just solving these basic, frustrating implementation puzzles. It absolutely crushes velocity.
And morale, I bet.
Oh, definitely. It burns out the team fast.
Okay, so the what's is pretty clear. Technical instability, missing pieces, and this really costly lack of outside help. So now we pivot. The who. Whose job is it to actually sound the alarm on these things? It's surprisingly fuzzy, isn't it?
It is.
The official Scrum guide, it doesn't actually say who takes project risks up the chain to, senior management.
No, it's silent on that specific point. And that silence, that ambiguity, it's probably intentional.
How so?
It forces the organization, the team, to actually define their own process for this. But if you look at how mature Scrum teams work in the real world, there's a pretty common practice, a rule of thumb, if you will.
Okay, I'm listening. What's the rule of thumb?
In practice, it's very often the Scrum Master who ends up being the main point person for this kind of communication.
Ah, the Scrum Master.
Yeah, they often handle the external comms, and that includes escalating these bigger project risks up to organizational leadership. But And this is really, really important.
Okay.
We have to make a critical distinction here. The Scrum Master is usually the messenger, the facilitator of that communication.
Right.
But they are not solely accountable for identifying every single risk. That's not their job alone.
Wait a second, hang on. If the developers are the ones actually hitting these walls, like the undocumented APIs, and finding the bugs, and the product owner is managing the feature timeline and the business value, why stick the Scrum Master in the middle for communication? Doesn't that just add a delay? Another layer. Seems like it could slow down getting the warning out.
That's a really fair question. And it highlights the difference between just identifying a risk and actually escalating an organizational impediment.
Okay, explain that difference.
So the developers, they spot the technical risk, right? This API call is broken. But the Scrum Master's role isn't just to pass that message along verbatim. Their job is to make sure, first, that the risk is understood and maybe tackled within the team. Maybe it impacts the sprint goal. Then, if it needs to go higher, they help translate it.
Translate it.
Yeah, translate it from a technical problem into language the wider organization understands. Escalation is an organizational process, not just a tech support ticket. The SM brings the structure. They coach the team on turning API failure into here's the risk and here's our proposed plan A and plan B.
I see, I see. So the SM is facilitating the strategy around the risk, not just relaying the technical detail.
Exactly. They're coaching the how.
Yeah.
So fundamentally, risk management is absolutely the responsibility of the entire Scrum team.
PO, devs, SM, all of them.
All of them. But the Scrum Master facilitates, coaches, encourages everyone to be proactive about spotting and dealing with risks. Let's break down maybe who focuses on what, because it's not just making a list.
Good idea. So the developers.
Developers, they're closest to the code, so their focus is really on feasibility. Can we actually build this?
Right.
So they spot the technical risks, obviously, but also risks related to their ability to actually get the work done in a sprint. Like, do we have the right skills? Are the tools reliable? Is this new SDK actually usable?
Makes sense. And the product owner, they're not coding. How do they plug into risk identification, especially with something technical, like a new SDK?
Great point. The PO's lens is different. They're focused on viability and market risk. They need to look outwards.
Outwards how?
Like this new company providing the SDK, are they stable? What's their long-term plan, their roadmap? Is it compatible with our product's future goals?
So it's a business risk perspective.
Exactly. If the PO sees that using this shiny new tech actually ties the whole product to this one, maybe shaky new vendor, and maybe that vendor's plans conflict with where we want to take the product in a year, that's a huge business risk, way beyond just a technical glitch. So they're constantly scanning for those business and market risks tied to the backlog and the whole ecosystem.
Okay. So developers look at, can we build it? Now PO looks at, should we build it, rely on this, passed on, and the SM helps ensure both perspectives, plus the process itself, are healthy and communicating.
You've got it. Viability, feasibility, and process health. Continuously monitored, continuously discussed.
Right. Which brings us neatly to the really strategic part of this whole deep dive, the how. Let's say the team finds something big, a showstopper risk.
Yeah.
You can't just fire off a panicked email to the exec suite saying, Houston, we have a problem.
Right.
There's a sequence, steps you got to take before you loop in leadership.
Absolutely correct. That panicked email, that's career limiting potentially. The moment a really critical risk surfaces, let's say, that new SDK turns out to have a massive security vulnerability.
Yeah.
The team has to pause and do its homework first.
Yeah.
Step 1, internal facilitation. The Scrum Master needs to immediately pull the whole team together.
Okay.
Get everyone on the same page about what the risk is, what its potential impact could be. Really clarify it internally first.
And then step 2. This feels like the crucial one, the one that really separates the tactical teams from the strategic ones.
It really is. Step 2 is develop response plans.
Yeah.
Key point. Before you breathe a word about this risk outside the team must work together.
To do what?
To brainstorm and outline some high-level strategies. How can we manage this? Mitigate it. Avoid it altogether. What are our options?
Okay.
The sources are adamant on this. You need to go forward with an assessment and a plan. Always. If you just show up with a problem.
You're just creating another problem for leadership.
Exactly right. You're basically saying, here, you solve this. Not a good look.
Okay, so step 1, clarify internally. Step 2, develop options, develop those response plans, and only then, once those plans are solid,
And rigorously thought through, yes.
only then does the Scrum Master carry out step 3, informed communication.
Correct. Which means the SM takes the identified risk, or risks, to the right people in leadership. But, and here's the key, that message absolutely must be coupled with the team's proposed response strategies.
Right. You're not asking them to decide if it's a problem.
No, you're asking them to make a decision on the solution path. Which way forward should we take?
Okay, this lands us perfectly at the strategic peak here. Presenting solutions, not just problems. Why is just dumping a problem on leadership so bad? And why is having solutions ready so critical for how the team is perceived?
It comes down to expectations and, frankly, trust.
Yeah.
Leadership expects the people closest to the work that's the Scrum team to have already done the hard yards.
The due diligence.
Exactly. The due diligence to find a workable path forward. If you just flag a risk, hey, this SDK is insecure, with no proposed actions.
Yeah.
Organizationally, that often gets interpreted as you just passing the buck. Or even worse, it can sound like you're admitting you're incompetent, that the team can't handle its own challenges.
It implies helplessness, maybe.
Precisely. It puts the burden entirely on leadership, who are further removed from the details.
So it's the difference between, like, walking into the CEO's office and saying, bad news, we can't integrate the SDK, we're going to be late.
Yeah, the problem statement.
Versus saying, okay, we've hit a major integration blocker with the SDK, we've dug into it, and we see 3 possible ways forward.
Much better start.
Path A involves bringing in a specialist consultant for 2 weeks, costs about 20 telly, but we think it keeps us on track for the original delivery date. Path B means we try to build a workaround ourselves. It saves the consultant cost, but likely adds 3 weeks to the schedule. Path C is,
Right. And finishing with, based on our analysis, we recommend Path A, but we need your approval on the budget.
That's the perfect contrast. That second approach, it shows the team is on top of it.
Totally. It demonstrates you're proactive,
Yeah.
you're in control of the situation as much as possible, and you can translate complex technical stuff into clear business choices.
You're giving them options, not just obstacles.
You're providing the strategic framework for the decision maker. Let's actually detail that formula, because for you listening, this is the structure you should probably adopt right away.
Good call. What are the absolute must-have parts of that escalation message?
Okay, you need a structured, concise message. Keep it tight. Start with, clearly state the risk that's been identified. Risk X identified. Simple. Then, present the team's recommended primary mitigation strategy. Our recommended approach is strategy Y. And crucially state what that strategy needs.
What resources?
Exactly. Time, money, maybe getting another team involved, organizational change, whatever it is. Strategy Y requires Z budget time approval. Be specific.
Right.
And then, critically, you always include at least one viable alternative. A, Plan B.
Why always Plan B?
Shows you've thought it through, shows flexibility, and gives leadership a real choice, often involving trade-offs they understand. So the full structure is something like, risk X found. We recommend strategy Y needs Z resource. Our backup is strategy A, which means this other consequence, like lower scope or later delivery.
Okay, that's clear. Risk recommendation plus needs, alternative plus consequences.
That's the core of it.
And by using that formula, you make leadership's role crystal clear, too. You're not asking them to debug code.
No, heavens no.
You're asking them to make a specific business decision, usually about resource allocation or maybe shifting a strategic priority.
Precisely. The team is only going upstairs for a decision on something they genuinely can't resolve themselves. Leadership's job is typically to pick the path,
Yeah.
especially if the solution needs significant money or maybe a big change to the overall product goal, or if it hits some kind of organizational wall that only senior management can knock down.
Like changing a major vendor contract or reprioritizing work across different departments.
Exactly. Those kinds of things. Stuff the team can't fix alone.
This has been incredibly helpful, really practical. So let's try and synthesize this. The takeaway seems to be, risk management starts with everyone on the Scrum team using their unique viewpoint, technical, market, process.
Team effort.
But communicating that risk upwards, that's a strategic act usually led by the Scrum Master. And the real power isn't just in pointing out the iceberg.
Right.
It's in presenting the different routes the ship can take to navigate around it, options, not just obstacles.
Beautifully put. And maybe one final thought to leave folks with, stepping back just a little. We mentioned the Scrum Guide is deliberately kind of vague on the exact organizational process for escalating risk. It lets the team define it.
Right. Forces the conversation.
So here's a more strategic question for you to ponder. If your team gets really good at this, consistently spotting major risks and presenting these flawless response strategies that only need a simple yes or no from leadership,
Yeah.
are you just showing good control over the current problem? Or are you actually, maybe subtly, negotiating for more autonomy?
How so?
By consistently proving your team is capable of solving complex problems leadership might not have even fully grasped yet. Think about the political capital, the trust you build every single time you walk in with a solution already baked, instead of just a problem. What does that earn you over time?